This is Mary. Welcome to the IHC Craft Room.
In today's video, I'm excited to share another art stone that is based on Valentine's Day and the art of love. This one, of course, is based in red because who doesn't love a little bit of red for Valentine's Day? Go ahead and grab your things and let's get crafty.
For materials, we'll begin with the 3.5-inch hand-poured art stone, acrylic paint in red, white, black, and gray, matte varnish as base coat protection, and glossy varnish to cover the whole completed project. For tools, we'll always begin with my dotting tools, some paint pods or a palette, some stencils or a compass, a paintbrush, toothpicks, Q-tips, a measuring tape, a cup of water, and a wet rag. We're going to start with a couple of thin coats of red paint as the base coat. I won't be painting the bottom of my rock until my design is complete so that I can avoid scratching it up and basically ruining it while I'm dotting the whole rock. Next, I'm going to do a couple of thin coats of varnish. This is to protect the base coat in the event that I make a mistake and need to use one of my Q-tips. This way I won't take off any of the base paint in the process of correcting my mistake. I'm going to be using some chalk guidelines on this project, so now that my base paint and varnish are dry, I'm going to go ahead and start adding in the lines. It's time to place our center dot using gray paint and the 10.0 white rod. Take a deep breath, let it out, and place your center dot. Now, let's add a black trim all the way around the center dot using the 1mm blue stylus. Take your time when placing each dot, making sure to leave enough room between each dot that you lay down so that they don't accidentally merge into one big blob. That can happen very easily, so really, I can't stress this enough. Take your time. Let's start row 1 using our guidelines. We'll use some white paint and the white 2.5mm stylus to drop some dots right on the first guideline. Then we're gonna go back and fill in the spaces. Here's an IHC quick tip. If you're new to dot painting or you're still struggling with dot placement in general, then here's a good tip for you. Wait. Don't go fill in the gaps yet. Take a break. Stand up, stretch, have a big glass of water. Let those dots pretty much dry completely. Now go back and fill in the spaces. Paint dries, guys. Don't forget it. Don't let your impatience rush you into turning beautiful dots into blobs. Take your time. Let it dry. For row 2, we're going back to that gray paint and we'll use the 3mm green stylus to drop some nice plump dots right on the guidelines. We're not filling this row in, we're going to be moving forward. Row number 3 will be using black paint and the 6.0 white rod to make us some yummy 1-scoop ice cream cones. Now, an argument can be made that I have sweets on the brain, sure, but my question is, how can you look at these and not see a 1-scoop ice cream cone? Like, if you don't, maybe you have a problem with your brain, is all I'm saying. I mean, just consider. Okay, focus. How to make these happen is to make sure that you drop a nice plump dot and then using the thinnest stylus that you have. In this case, I don't even know how thin this is. It'll poke your eye right out, so don't point this at your eye. But I'm using the pointiest one I have, and I'm just taking that paint and dragging it down to a very fine point and making myself a yummy looking ice cream cone. I said it. On row 4, we're going to use the same size dotting tool as the previous row, so the 6.0 white rod, and we're going to hit it with some white paint, but you'll notice that I've made these dots significantly larger by adding more paint to my dotting tool. So this would be like, say, an extra large 1-scoop ice cream cone. And really, why would you want any other kind other than an extra large? I mean, why bother? Let's slow this one down so you can see how long it really takes to actually make one of these extra large 1-scoop ice cream cones. We're following the same process for all of this row, making sure to get a nice plump dot. You'll take your finest dotting stylus and pull that paint down to a point so sharp it would rip your pantyhose. Do people even wear pantyhose anymore? I don't even know. I mean, okay, focus. So yes, you're going to pull it down to a tapered finish, completing your 1-scoop ice cream cone. I feel like I could probably say ice cream cone 75 million times during this. Maybe I should do like a count by the end. Let's see. Let me think about it. Are you seeing how long this is taking? Like, seriously, it's taking quite a bit of time, isn't it? That's how long it will take you to make one of these little ice cream cones. So don't fret if it takes you a while. It's supposed to. Now, in between those extra large white ice cream cones, we're going to add a gray dot using the green 3mm Stylus tool. To complete the base pattern, we're going to use a technique I've used in previous patterns called walking the dots. This technique starts by adding a decent amount of paint to your stylus and placing a larger center dot. We're then going to flip the stylus over, dip it into some paint, and then using the paint that is now on the dotting tool, we'll do around 8 dots or so without reloading paint onto our dotting tool. As the paint starts to dwindle, the dots will naturally get smaller and smaller, walking the dots to a teeny tiny little finish. It's time for top dots. So let's start with black paint and the 7.0 white rod to make our center top dot. Next, let's move on to our black ice cream cones and give them a top dot of gray using the 4.0 white rod. It wouldn't be a dotting tutorial if I didn't say this at least once. Don't forget to pop all of the bubbles in your paint. If not, they will end up popping on their own and drying that way in your final product. It's happened to me. It sucks. Do your best to avoid it. Next, we'll use the 2mm pink stylus and some black paint to top dot all of the gray dots in our base pattern. And for the red top dots, I start off using the 4.0 white rod, but then I switched over to the 5.0 because it was just a better fit. And last but not least, I'm going to flip over really any one of my stylus tools to get that 1.25mm side. And we're going to top dot our white row and give them a little red twinkle. And with that, our pattern is complete. Thank you for joining me on this black, gray, white, and red Valentine-inspired escapade into dot painting. Seriously, that's a mouthful. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And remember to subscribe for more fun projects as we continue to get crafty together. Toodleloo!